I wrote The Heart of Redness a few months after returning to South Africa, after more than 30 years of exile. It was, I think, in 1995 when I was commissioned by the SABC to write a television series, or an episode actually, one episode as part of that television series, then known as Saints, Sinners and Settlers. The episode I was supposed to write was on the prophetess Nongqawuse, who lived in the 1850s or so, who once prophesied that the Xhosa people should kill their cattle and destroy their crops, and on a certain date the dead would come back, the dead would arise from the graves, the ancestors and so on. They would all come back with new crops and new cattle which would be disease-free, and of course they would also help to drive the British colonists away from the lands of the Xhosas into the sea. And many people fell for those prophecies and killed their cattle, destroyed their crops. There were others in the community who did not believe the prophecies and did not kill their cattle or destroy their crops. There was therefore a very big conflict that erupted between the believers and the unbelievers, those who believed the prophecies and those who did not. So I was fascinated then by that conflict, and I wrote the television series. The SABC sent me to the Eastern Cape, to these areas. I went there for the first time, to Qolorha, for instance, a very beautiful village on the wild coast. The story itself, of course, is a story that I've always known. We all know that story. We grew up with it. But I discovered many new things about it, especially from a historian called Jeff Pears, who was engaged by the SABC as my consultant. He wrote a book titled The Dead Will Arise. So, working with him then on the historical aspects of the book was very fascinating, because I learned many new things about Nongqawuse. After writing that episode, and after having been to the Eastern Cape, that part of the Eastern Cape, and having been fascinated by the landscape and those beautiful villages there, I thought, well, I might as well actually write a novel set here in this village today, a contemporary novel. But then, since I already had this information on Nongqawuse and so on, it should be a contemporary novel that looks back to the past, that shuttles between the present and the past, to see how that past has influenced the present.